Hey YouTube, let's see how many people I can offend today. Today's topic is going to be concealed carry versus open carry. Now, everybody's got their opinion, so I'm going to give you mine. Before I start, I just stepped in from shooting this Ruger LCR. It's a 38 special, capable of firing plus P rounds, which I did. I had some plus P lead hollow points, and this thing is no joy to shoot. I'll tell you that right now. With the plus P's, it has some serious recoil, but it shot rather well. The trigger's smooth, but it is what it is. They make this in a 357. I'd hate to try to shoot a 357 round through it. But today's topic: concealed carry or open carry. Myself, there's only one option, and that is concealed carry. If you're carrying this open carry, in some places, I understand that's the only way you can carry is open. And if that's the case, then that's what you got to do. But if you can conceal carry in your area that you live, that's what I would do. The less attention you draw to yourself, the better. Now, the more I talk to people about guns, carrying guns, shooting guns, the more I figure out that people do not have as much common sense as I give them credit for most of the time. I think common sense is going away. I hear some crazy things from people that I thought would know better, but it never surprises me the ignorance of some people that I gave credit for having a little bit of common sense. Now, what are the downsides of open carry, in my opinion? One, it draws attention to yourself. Now, I know in the movies, a lot of times, people come busting in the door, guns blazing. But in a real world situation, and now it's hard to read the mind of a lunatic, and I know you can't do it, but if I was going to do some harm in a particular place, whether it be a restaurant, a store, or wherever, what I would do would be to walk in calmly and check out the situation and see what I'm up against. If I see Joe Rambo with a full-size pistol strapped on his side in the open, I know I'm going to have to take him out first. I'm going to have to deal with him first. The bad guy always has the upper hand because he knows what's fixing to happen. You don't. You're going to be surprised. He's planned. Even if it may be poorly planned, he still knows before you do what's fixing to go down. So you have set yourself up to be a threat before anything even happens. That is my opinion on that. Now, another thing, I know people that not only open carry in a locking holster, they will carry without a round in the chamber. What in the world do you think is going to happen? I know you cannot be prepared for every scenario that may arise. Only one thing is guaranteed, that if something ever happens, it's not going to go down the way you had thought it would. That's the only thing that is for sure. But here's a scenario. You've stuffed your fat body into a booth at the Rib Shack. You're facing away from the door. You're stuffed in this booth like you're fixing to ride the world's deadliest roller coaster. You can't move. Now, you got both hands and your face stuffed into a rack of ribs. You look like a hyena with your head in a dead wildebeest carcass. You got grease and barbecue sauce up to your elbows and all over your face. You hear a pop. Is that a gunshot, or did the button just blow off my pants? I better see if I can turn around and investigate. Wait, there is somebody with a gun at the door behind me. What am I going to do? Well, I can either prison shank him with a rib bone, Old Testament style. Now, if you went truly Old Testament style, you would use a jawbone. But you don't know that because you didn't go to church today because you wanted to beat the church crowd to the rib shack. So, I'm not going to get much done with a rib bone. My hands are covered in sauce. Let me reach for my weapon. Now, my weapon does not have a round in the chamber, so let me take my greasy barbecue sauce covered hand and chamber a round. Okay, did I chamber a round or did I not? I don't know, because now panic is set in. I'm already way behind the curve. My weapon is not even ready to engage the threat. Now, I'm not sure if it is or not. So, do I have a round in the chamber? Do I not? What do I do? Well, I can jump out the booth. I hope I got clean underwear on, because my pants are now around my ankles. I got barbecue sauce up to my elbows. I'm standing with a gun that might or might not be ready to fire. And 5 people have filmed the whole thing on their cell phones. Now it's on YouTube, and it just went viral. Local vigilante stands in his underwear, not ready to engage a threat. Mom and Pop both lose their life savings in an armed robbery. Well, how did that scenario play out? Is that going to happen in real life? Probably not. But if you're not going to give yourself a chance to be ready for a fight, why even look the part? If you're not confident in your ability to handle a gun safely with a round in the chamber, how can you possibly be confident in your ability to shoot accurately? That's what I want to know. You can carry however you want to carry, depending on what the laws allow in your area. If you have to carry open, well then carry open. That's all you can do. But you need to be trained. You need to be ready. You need to be familiar with your equipment. If you got a locking Serpa type holster that you have to push a button to get the gun out, there's one step. Alright, step 2. You got no round in the chamber. So now you got to have time to chamber a round. Now you need to train. You need to train heavily at doing that, because sometimes when I'm out in my backyard shooting just casually, no pressure, no stress, I have racked the slide and not actually chambered around. Pulled the trigger and it went click, because for some reason or another I did not chamber around. I've even actually had the mag fall out of my gun out on the range trying to chamber around. So I would not have been ready in a situation. So you need to train with however you're going to carry. If the only way you're going to carry is to have an unloaded gun, then you need to really do some training. You need to train drawing. You need to train racking around. And the best way you're going to be able to do that is to get you some dummy rounds. Fill up your mag with dummy rounds. Remember to be safe, because you're already not confident in your ability, or you wouldn't be training for this. Get you some dummy rounds, holster your gun, draw it, chamber the round. Over and over and over again. Now, even if you're carrying concealed, you need to practice drawing the weapon from your holster. You may have a shirt over it. You may have a shirt and a jacket over it. You need to practice. I don't think a lot of people practice the actual drawing of their firearm. And I'm guilty of that as well. If you don't feel confident, use the gun unloaded, or you can even buy the plastic training guns off of eBay for just about anything made. And you can practice with that. Just draw from the holster with your shirt on, your jacket on, whatever you're going to have on, and be ready. train for how you're going to carry, whether it be open, whether it be concealed, whether it be loaded, or whether it be unloaded, which I like to refer to as Barney Fife style. Barney Fife carried an unloaded gun. Why? Because Andy made him carry an unloaded gun. Because every time he loaded his gun, he proceeded to put a hole in the floor or the ceiling. So if you're Barney Fife-ish and do not trust yourself to carry one in the chamber, you better be ready, because if you think you're going to have time to unhook the mechanism that's holding your gun in the holster, rack the slide confidently, be 100% sure that you have a round in the chamber. If you got that kind of time, you might have had time to run. Remember, there's probably going to be witnesses to see you over here doing all this. And they may argue, hey, why didn't you just run? You worked on your gun for 35 to 40 seconds before you engaged the threat. You could have run 1,000 feet in that amount of time. Unless you're the guy that was stuffed in the booth shoveling the ribs in like Fred Flintstone. So if you're going to carry Barney Fife style, maybe you should carry a revolver. But if you're scared to have one in the chamber, I don't know how that would work unless you carried it empty and maybe carried a speed loader in your pocket. So when the threat arose, you could open your cylinder, fiddle with your speed loader, get your gun loaded, get your cylinder closed, and it's just, why stop there? Are you going to not wear your seatbelt and think, well, before I crash into something, I'll put my seatbelt on? No, that's ridiculous. But that's the way people think. Are you going to jump out of an airplane and just carry a parachute with you and put it on your way down? No. You're going to prepare, you're going to double check everything, and then you're going to jump out the plane if you're dumb enough to do such a thing. You're going to put your seatbelt on before you start driving if you are concerned with your safety. So, in my opinion, carrying a gun Barney Fife style is just asking for trouble. Also, in my opinion, carrying a gun exposed, if the option is there to carry concealed, is just drawing unnecessary attention to yourself. That's attention you don't need and you don't want. You don't want to stand out like John Wayne. This is not an old-timey Western. So, in my opinion, it's better, the less people know, the better. I don't want the guy that's going to do any harm to know he needs to take me out first. Now, 99% chance none of us will ever have to use our firearm, and that's what we want. We never want to have to use it. But if in that 1% or less chance that you ever might have to, give yourself the best chance you can of coming out and protecting yourself. That's all I got to say. That's all my opinion. Don't freak out. If you don't care to carry one in the chamber, practice your gun safety. Focus on that before you even think about your accuracy. Like I said, if you don't feel confident in your ability to handle a firearm safely, how can you possibly be confident in your ability to shoot accurately? That blows my mind, and that's about all I got to gripe about today. I'm about out of time. I got things to do. Thanks for watching. I'm gone.